Furthermore, he has done a lot when it comes to transgender, which we're going to talk about in the next segment with the comic. He has done a lot with the transgender movement, put some reality in people's heads. He has done crazy amounts for Israel. He also criticizes Israel, which I also criticize Israel. Just because a government is part of my country doesn't mean I can't criticize my country's government. You can criticize the U.S. government. You can criticize an Israeli government. You criticize any government. Doesn't mean governments are absolute and pure righteous people, right? You have many people working there, and not every action I believe is righteous. I believe some of it is very agenda-wise and very self-centered.
Is this about Benjamin Netanyahu having his kid down in Miami while the war was going on? Is that what you're talking about?
No. There's other things.
Okay.
Now, what ends up happening? Charlie Kirk, I think, has pushed the envelope. Where in a recent, let me see if I can find this recent post, Kirk and what's it called, JD Vance.
He is so fired up that there's something like this that's made its way into comics. Comic people have been voicing things, particularly one voicing things, having a celebration that he was publicly assassinated. And so that's what this is building to. But this is the narrative of what happened and what went down, and everything with it. But yeah.
Right. So Charlie Kirk basically said in one of these forums that his goal is to get J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio to be the next candidates and president, to make him the next president. He said, I will make J.D. Vance the next president. So with all that compounded together, I'm sure there's a lot of compounded issues. I personally believe that there's a very possibility that this was supported by Iran or Qatar to take out Charlie Kirk.
Possible.
That is my monologue for this event. I mean, I usually will do this in an iShook daily monologue.
No,
I believe that's really what's happening, because
from the comic end, that's not relevant. But what is relevant is that he died, that he was successfully murdered, and shoot, on how many ever cameras, cell phones, and everything. The man was murdered. Big public figure. It was a targeted hit.
It was a real assassination. There's no question about it. It was a professional hit or assassination. The guy knew how to cover his face. They still can't find the guy. So it's not a simple.
They've had video of some dude running on a rooftop or whatever. I mean, all kinds of stuff. People being hauled off. Hey, it's this one. Hey, it's that one. It's a mess.
It's a massive mess.
It is. Okay, so
yeah. But one thing I want to. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Say what you want to say, because I was going to talk about the comic thing.
No, let's go to the comic thing.
Okay, the reason,
let me just open up
the reason that this is even relevant within the comic sphere, that this big public politicized thing went on, is because we're living in the day and age where we have social media. And people feel extraordinarily comfortable saying anything that they want to say, no matter how harsh, no matter how ugly, no matter how vile. People have bullied people to death, all kinds of things, and then turn around and play the victim or whatever. People feel comfortable doing all that sort of stuff, acting unprofessional. We're living in a day and age more so where people, and Eric July was talking about this, where people want to know who the people are creating their comics and their cartoons and all that. So if you're going out there buying the stuff, and because somebody puts themselves out there so publicly and transparently, and you think this person's a jerk, they're a creep, I don't like the way they think about this, believe about that, the way they treat the wait staff, whatever, because those people don't have handlers. We none do. There's no stars anymore in Hollywood, is what's said, because people just kind of show their butts, unless they're like, Tom Cruise or whoever, who's like one of the last stars. He's a true professional. He goes out there and he acts the way that he should and talks about the movies, and doesn't act like a fool in public, or on social media. So this individual, Gretchen Felker Martin, was sought out by DC Comics and has actually written several other comics prior to this, to go ahead and to write this Red Hood series. Now, Gretchen Felker Martin is a trans activist and has written several books. And, and there's people that jump to that, oh, a trans author and all that. That has nothing to do with anything. Celebrating and glorifying over someone's brutal death, or death, where they're assassinated, that has everything to do with it. Having a party over it when it's something like that seems just really awful. But again, it's completely consistent with this person's character. So DC Comics has pulled the Red Hood comics. The first one came out yesterday. Said we're giving all the stores a credit, so we don't even want to make any money off of this. So they're doing the right thing. That's what you would do. Yeah, people have said things in comics that are it's questionable or it's ugly or it's off kilter and all that, but it's not that extreme. So you do have some people, enormous amounts of people offended by this. You do have some people that are on Team Gretchen for this. And you could say, well, they've got this issue or that issue, but here's what some of them are saying. They're saying this, you knew who it was when you hired them. This person, Gretchen, this is 100% consistent. And they don't say with the level of being a fool, but let's be honest, you're wrong if you think otherwise. With the level of being a fool, freak, whatever, that Gretchen has always been. Gretchen initially landed a book deal after talking about wanting to slash J.K. Rowling's throat open because of disagreements with certain ideologies and gender and whatever. Wrote a character in a book that murdered J.K. Rowling, and all of that really hyped up this author. Gretchen 𝗂𝘁 on this person's social media says, I'm not brave. I'm just the C word. On another social media thing for Gretchen 𝗂𝘁 says that I believe that the wording is that I'm, and it's this, whether I'm wording it word for word, that I'm beyond the grace of God and I walk in outer darkness. That's the, and hey, that's trying to be provocative or whatever. When people tell you what they are, believe them. As what the saying is. So that's what this person, how they market themselves and put themselves out there. So, no matter what you want to think of it, that's this person's tagline, that that I'm beyond the great, that I'm so vile and egregious, and that I'm a C word. And you've got DC Comics and another trans activist, trans individual that's a editor, and I guess that's the person that hired them or had something to do with that, because that's the one that was directly over them, Ariana Turturro, but was associated with this. Of course, you've got a group editor that's above Ariana, which that's really like a management position. And then you've got an editor in chief. You can go on to League of Comic Geeks and you can see everybody that was involved with the Red Hood books. I did read it. I didn't go out and buy one. And I thought this is just so controversial and so bad, and I really feel like this is going to be pure crap. I mean, there were red flags there. The biblical phraseology that's so much in the mainstream that people use it that don't even crack a Bible open is the handwriting was on the wall. You knew what it was before you picked it up, like everybody's saying, and there's the mess. The comic was overall, the story was fine. Overall, it was building up to some stuff. The artwork was very nice. The coloring was nice.